sunburned to shit, woke up. We are never telling that story.
This is the highlight of the year right here. Win at all costs, right?
Dazzler, that's the first time I've ever seen you strike a ball.
And I'm thinking, what's this guy doing? Bang, boom, boom, in.
That's a whole other topic.
Jesus Christ, are we telling that story now?
It was a filthy putt.
You gained 50 yards and then you never swung it like that again.
That sounds about right, to be honest. But hey, we're not going to go there. They have to say that.
As I said, I'm not very good at golf, you know.
Really?
So much to unpack there.
Start unpacking, lad. Welcome back for another episode of the Dope Stroke podcast show. Today, it is just myself and Mr. Chris Trottie Golf, for those that know him best online. And let me just tell you, a little debrief before that we'd all jumped on to push record. And when I say all, just the pair of us. The guy's actually quite chipper today. He's at Trottie. I know this is going to shock all of our listeners and all of our viewers from all over the world, in particular those in the Ivory Coast, but Trottie is chipper. And I'm looking forward to learn why, and I'm pretty sure he'll detail it into explicit detail, which we really want to hear about. So, Trotmeister, how are you, big boy?
What I like, Daryl, is that we basically had a podcast before we even hit play.
We did.
I was waiting for Bubs here, and I said to you, is anyone coming, mate? And you're like, no. And I'm like, well, we might as well start now. And you're like, I guess we should. So we've been sat here for about 15 minutes and we basically had a podcast, which everyone's missed out. And now we've got to repeat all that because I didn't realise it was just me and you, son. That's just fine.
Yeah, Bubs is on holiday this week, so he's out of action. You know, a bit different to the US where you get your 10 days holiday a year. Over here, we get a lot more than that. And pure Bubs, under the thumb with his missus, he has to, do the fatherly and husband thing and actually niche the podcast so he can do all that, which I think is outrageous personally, but each their own.
We've got to be very careful on this podcast because the reason I'm so chippy, as you say, is because I've had a week, I've not been at the trot shop all week. I might have been there at the start of the week. Actually, no, we had loads of meetings. So someone who's involved in the business with Daryl and I came down. We had loads of meetings at the start of the week. And then I actually played golf US, do these member guest things. Good fun. Played in that for the last 3 days. So we didn't win, but that's why I guess I'm chippy because I've been playing on my own golf game. Chippy and chipper.
You can be both.
I'll tell you what, me chipping is flipping money. So that obviously tells you that I missed a lot of greens. But someone who had the chipping, I've come back from hell. And I had one of those weeks too, Daryl, golf-wise, where just pure mediocre with the putter. And as you know now, I don't actually know if we've played together whilst I've been doing this. A couple of years, I've been broomsticking it and just pure lose maybe 2 strokes around to a PGA Tour putting average, which is fine, especially if you're hitting it miles away. Didn't miss anything, didn't make anything, and that's I literally got in last night or Saturday night when this thing finished, and I reached for the dog's knocking the camera. Chill out, Denver, you Jesus. Anyway, so I reached for the short one again, which is that's Yip City, but it's out next to the bed, which is the first step to coming back to Yip a load. But no, it was good, mate. I had a good few days, and then where I was going with that, where we've got to be careful. I was with a guy on Saturday night, and I already don't want to tell this story. I'm not the story.
Actually, before you even tell any story,
I'm not telling that story.
We need to throw out an apology to our listeners, actually. And it's nothing that we've said offensively. We just got a really important fact wrong last week. And our friend Stainless on the tour has pointed that fact out to me. But basically, we said that Ludwig Oberg hadn't won on the PGA Tour. Turns out he's won twice. So we got that wrong. But, what do you normally say? Come see, come sir?
There's a lot to unpack there.
Go on, then.
I'm glad that Stainless is listening.
Yeah, he's an avid listener. I always ask him, "So, have you got any feedback for me?" And then and said, "No, it's good, and his Scottish accent and everything." And he actually chimed in with a comment on YouTube and said, "Actually, you got that wrong, fellas."
Fair enough. I mean, that's Lloyd's fault.
Yeah, we blame Lloyd for everything. I mean, I do.
Exactly.
Where
did he win then? Where did he win? And how come Stainless knows that?
Well, I think you might have just been fact checking us, which is probably the right thing to do on the basis that we got the stat wrong. But I will tell you now, actually, he won PGA Tour. He won the Genesis Invitational in 25, so last year.
That's a good tournament. I'm surprised I got that wrong then. And
he also won the RSM Classic in 2023, which is actually the one that Stainless is talking about because that was one of his first starts on the PGA Tour.
Your man who won this week's a good player, and he's a really nice guy. I got to do some stuff with him at the photo shoot. He's a good lad. He is a good lad.
Where is he from in America?
Yeah, sure.
Let's not get fact checked again.
No, his parents are Scandinavian, I can tell you that much. But hey, I mean, most people could have figured that out.
Yeah, surname was a bit of a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks a solid player. He's actually done quite well this season, to be fair, in a number of tournaments.
He did well in studs. Actually, didn't do well in studs or duds. I bought an episode out on YouTube, studs or duds. He didn't do great in it, I don't think, but he's a good lad. But talking about Thor, so this thing I played in the weekend, they do this long drive tournament. Now, those of you that obviously know me, I know I come on in the morning with a raspy voice, so everyone thinks I'm 6'4". I'm actually 5'6 3/4". All right, pushing 5'7". If you write it,
3/4 matters.
If you write it down on one of those forms, I'm 5'7". So in 2021, I played in this member guest. So member guests are a big deal in the States. I played in this member guest as a guest, and I was driving it lovely. To be fair, I think it was the stealth driver, which is probably why, you know, when we get on the subject of which driver do you love, stealth or whatever, I was slamming this thing. I've been seeing Dana Dahlquist for lessons. I'd gone for 2 lessons with Dana up in Long Beach. Now, he is Bryson DeChambeau's guy. And he had this whole thing that he was talking about, I like the sequencing, and my sequencing's off in the downswing. And he was doing, and anyway, I wouldn't say I hit it particularly amazing, but I was hitting it further. So obviously you're hitting it more efficiently. I was also doing, which is something you text me about the weekend, and I was thinking about it, I was doing that Golf Forever stuff. We'd just come out of COVID, I think, and Golf Forever is like a fitness thing that Scotty Chef was involved with. And I was actually doing it, and because I'm not that into that stuff, and my mobility was giving me speed. So anyway, past winner of this freaking long drive. So they do the long drive, like, betting thing. All the stuff at the clubs here is big into betting, and I'm in. And the category I'm in, the section of the group that I had to go through, I called it the Thor group. I was like, there's no way. Like, actually called it the Thug group, but for the podcast, we'll call it the Thor group. It was me and these 2 young bucks in my section of the bracket and a qualifier. And I came out the qualifying 4 or 5 years ago, whatever, to win. So I'm looking at this thing thinking, Jesus Christ, like, they take a picture, which I'll have to find for you, of me and the kid I've got to play in round 1. He's twice the height of me. I'd stand on a chair and I was just about his height. And obviously the guy emceeing is taking the piss, going, here we go, blah, blah, blah. So they all bet and that. And I go, which I was surprised at, for over a bag of sand in the betting. And I'm like, oh my God. Because
you are quite long, though. You're not a short hitter, though. Yeah, now, for your height and everything, you're not. You're definitely.
This ain't pound for pound. The story goes on anyway, because hey, I'm all heart, so don't worry about it. So the story goes on. So basically, we get out to the long drive, and it comes after the second day or third day, and you get 3 balls, and you've got to hit it in the grid. And if you don't hit it in the grid, you go out. And a couple of people.
Is the grid from the tee like vertical, or is it more?
It's rectangular. And,
okay, got you.
You know, it's 35 yards right to left. So it's a decent sized grid. And obviously there is no limit to it. You can hit it as far as you want. Anyway, we get up there, and I thought I've loosened up already. I didn't change my driver. I'm using a really short driver because I've been really crooked. I've gone to like a 44-inch driver, and I was in the cupboard here on the night before, and I was like, well, do I throw one of these different? I was like, I'm going out in round 1 anyway, no point, who cares? So I left my gamer, get to the golf club, and of course the loosening up happened, and I'm hitting balls on the range, and I've been guiding it, and I start to just give it the old Dana Dahlquist swing, and I like hit one, and I'm like, that's a bit spinny, I'll crank that. Hit another one, that's a bit cutty, I'll move away. I found 40 yards on the range, and I was like, okay, no shit. I found 40 yards, so I'm like, all right, fair dues. Like, this is a good advert for the Trot Shop. So I had me Trot Shop hat blaring, and I was like, you never know, like, have a run, see if you can beat this thug in round 1, and you maybe see if you can get it going. So we get out there, and I'm looking at the lad, and a couple of these boys are really nervous because there's like 60 people watching. And I'm looking at them, and I'm like, these boys are edgy. And as the rumours started coming round that this kid I'm playing is going to hit driver off the deck, so I'm like, he's mugging me off here. Like, how can you hit driver off the deck and beat the Trotmeister? I'm not sure I'm loving that. So, and there's some controversy that I'm going to tell you about the day before. Actually, I'll tell you the controversy on the day before now. So they do these things called the horse race, right? And bear with us because this is funny. And, you know, all the groups play together. So they split it into flights. So we're in like the low handicap group. We play the horse race. We par the first and we go into a chip off, right? Everyone goes to a chip off. And the pro in the shop, good lad, says, listen, lads, no one look around. So the first player chips up, and we're playing 4 groups for two spots. 3 groups, 2 spots. That's what I thought we were playing. So no one look around. Guy chips up, chips it tight. You know, there's 2 spots. That's what we were told. My guy chips up, hits it to 12 feet. that ain't going to cut it. So I obviously only knew by the first shot the reaction was pretty good. I heard the sound. I was like, got to be close. My guy chips up, which I looked at, 12 feet. I'm like, tricky. Guy from the shop says, right, you can play your shot now to this third lad. And he looks up and sees where my guy's ball is. What would you do in that situation? No one's looking, but the guy about to chip, and you know you've hit it to 12 feet. I didn't hit the chip, it was my partner. But you've got your guy going third now to get in one of these spots has seen. What would you do? And you've seen, he's seen.
So this is something that you're going to say now to the guy.
Well, I'm asking you.
I would say, well, I would have said to the other guy, wow, great shot. Awesome. And I would have made it, I would have like over exaggerated it for the purpose of saying that's actually real tight.
Yeah. But the kid who's about to hit has seen where he's hit it, and he shouldn't see, but he's turned around when the guy in the shop's told him to turn around. Then he's seen where the ball's gone. So what would you do? And there are 40 people there.
Did you call him out?
Well, I'm asking what you would do.
I would call him out. I'd say, did you see where that went?
So he looks at me, and by the way, he's a lovely lad. I played 18 holes with him the day after. Really nice guy.
You're a cheating bastard. That's what I'd have said.
So I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I looked at him and went, what are you doing? And he's like, what do you mean? And I said,
knew the rule.
I looked at him, I looked at the hole, I looked at him, and I went, you're looking. And he goes, he told me to turn around. I went, you're still looking. So now we got this dilemma, right? And everyone's like, in freaking half of the people there are like, you're a twat, Trotty, shut up. And the other half of the people like, actually, you're fair dues. So I end up standing on the fair dues side. And everyone's like patting me on the back going, yeah, keep going, keep pushing the situation. And everyone on the other side is like, why are you being such a prick? It's just a chip off. And I'm like, I don't want to go out, though. Anyway, so then in the confusion, one of the lads there, who's a good lad, says, guys, you got this wrong. He's a quiet lad, this lad who says this. Because you got this wrong. We're only playing for one spot. And then everyone on this side and my side goes, nah. They said 2 spots. They said, try, tell him. Try. I was like, we're playing for 2 spots. Anyway, so they basically say, and by the way, in the meantime, to this, like my partner chips from the inside a little bit. So I tried to change the location to go off an uphill chip because I knew he was going against 2 +4s. So I was like, if I can get my guy on an uphill chip, we got an advantage. So I've been causing chaos, knowing I am, but win at all costs, right? So I'm standing there and I go, listen, lads, we're all here trying to win. I think you should be disqualified. Someone else says, yeah, disqualified. Chaos, right? Chaos. So we chip up, he hits it tighter, and then they go, yeah, you're out, Trotty, fuck off. So I'm like, all right, we're out, whatever. So I get in the car, losing my head, and I say as I'm walking away, I say to the guy, who's a really nice lad, he's come all the way from Oregon to be here, and you've just basically said that we're out. Bullshit. Get in the car, drive off to the parking lot. With that, 10 minutes later, the lad who went out, the nice lad, is out, didn't go through. So I said, what are you boys doing? And they said, it was only 1 spot. They did all the maths and it was 1 spot. So we were out anyway. So all your moaning was for nothing. Oh, fair enough. I didn't like what you said either. You didn't.
That's what he said to you?
Yeah. So I look at this kid, big kid. I get out the car.
Yeah.
I said, you like what I said? I said, what did I say? And he says, you told me to F off back to Oregon. And I said, where are you? I said, where are you from? He said, Colorado. I said, got that wrong then, didn't you? He said, what do you mean? I said, he needs to fuck off back to Oregon because he's come all the way down here from Oregon to play and we've been able to hit 1 chip and then you lot have cheated and we've gone out. And he's gone, there was only 1 spot. I said, you didn't cheat then. I said, you ain't from Oregon either, are you? He went, no. I said, so I didn't say it then, did I? And he goes, oh, misheard you. I was like, fucking hell, son, careful, you know what I mean? I said, yeah, you did mishear me. Sit back down, let's move on. So, fast forward, that big lad, well, no, we cleared it up. He goes, to be fair, the kid was really nice. And he goes, misunderstanding. I said, yeah, misunderstanding. Move on. So we move on. So next day, but you know, you don't want to be labelled with that. Like, I play golf at this place. I like everyone there. I was a bit like,
and you're competitive.
But I was a bit like, hold on a minute. I'm not going to tell someone, piss off back to flip. But the kid doesn't know me because he has come from Denver. So he could assume. So I was like, no, mate, didn't do that. Don't be stupid. So calm that down. Anyway, get into the flipping long drive. This big lad from Colorado is in my group. Hits it about 900 yards past me. So I was like, okay. But first, I've got to go through Thor, who hits it 1,500 yards past me. So we get there, and I look around the group, and everyone, I've hit balls now 45 minutes ago. I'm 44 years old. I'm stiffening up, stiff as a wanker's hanky. I'm like, I'm struggling here. I get 3 balls to outdo Thor. I'm like, this is going to be interesting. So we finally get called up. We were in there. I thought we were going to go 3rd. The way they do the bracket, we went 8th. And the ripple has come through the crowd that this Thor kid's going to hit driver off the deck. So I'm like, this is mugging me off here. I'm not having this. So we get there, 3 balls. I grab out 3 balls.
So hang on, before you say it, how does this work? So does he hit 3 balls first? Do you go one at a time, or do you hit 3, 3, 3?
My name's top of the bracket. I'm seeded because I won it 5 years ago, like seeded 8th. People have got money on, and I get to go first. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go first and lay a marker down. No worries. And I have no concern about hitting the grid because I know the way I play golf. I'm going to hit like probably a cut, then a pull. Then I'm going to aim right and I'm just going to pull it because I've got to pull it, because if I pull it, I can get it another 5 yards. So I'm like, right, I'll go with that. And you've got to entertain a little bit as well because there's a ton of people there. So it's sponsored by Fuji Cora. I'm using my KBS driver shaft. So straight away, all the Fuji team are there. And I'm a little bit like, I don't know how this looks, but I'm not coming out of my KBS. And I've got my 44-inch, I've got my kid's driver. And I've moved the weights like forward. I've got the thing cranked. Like I've found me 40 yards on the range. I'm thinking there's a chance. And they throw on AC/DC, and I'm like, all right, fair dues. And I know how to gain some yardage. So I pegged this ball up literally on the highest tee I've got. I turn, and I like first 2 drives I missed the fairway. So I'm like, all right, but I'm not worried because I know now I've got my iron now. I'm like, I aim it down the right and I slam this 3rd drive and it goes 319. And I think, okay, chance. There's a chance that upsets the apple cart. Thor comes out, gives it to Laura Davis, and I'm like, fair dues, he's going to do it. I'm like, and I calculate it all in my mind. Okay, 319. So he's got to spin it. He's going to launch it at like 7 at best off the deck. He doesn't love his driver. He's told me on the range. I'm like, he's going to spin this at 3,500 maybe. He's going to need 195 ball speed if he's going to be sniffing past that on the deck. So let's see what he's got. So Thor stands there and he does not hit the grid on the first shot. And I'm like, that's interesting.
Do you mean he misses it sideways? So he misses the whole fairway?
Yeah. I'm like, interesting. Okay. Let's see what Thor's got on the second one. Thor stands up on the second one, skanks one down the middle, no yardage. Like 312, 310, 3 something. Like, needs to find a bunch. So I'm thinking, oh, hello. Going to go for a peg. Doesn't go for a peg on the 3rd one. Anyway, dispatched of Thor, move on. So Trottie gets into the 2nd round, right? And I'm playing the kid from Colorado. All of a sudden thought he was from Oregon, and I told him to F off. But he's the nicest kid in the world, so he's not angry or anything. And I've put that straight and said, no, I told my mate, fuck off, not you. Anyway, I think he misses 3 as well, because he went through, and he's past champ. He went through in the 1st round just by blasting, like to dink one down the fairway, because this guy missed 3. He missed 3. So slam through again. I was like, all right, fair. Now the crowd's like, we into the next round. Lad stands up, my age. I'm like, all right, I can handle this. No worries. Slam through. All of a sudden, I'm in the money now. I'm like literally in the final of this thing.
How many people play? How many people do it?
I think it must be 32.
Okay.
So anyway, I get into the final and I'm playing against one of the lads I know there, good lad. And he's longer than me and he knows he's longer than me. He knows I know he's longer than me. But I make it that he had to hit one. He hit one 330, bless it. So I was like, oh my God, yeah. But and then he was trying to do me for teeing up. He thought I'd teed up in front of the marker, which to be fair, everyone was a bit like, oh, everyone was a bit like, that's out of order. But I'd have said that if I was him as well. So I re-teed. Yeah, exactly. I re-teed the thing. I full sent one. I got 325 out of it, to be fair. But yeah, I couldn't get 330. I mean, he deserved to win. So that was that. Yeah. But it was good. And then I played with him the day after. And again, I like him. He's a good lad. He's hot-headed. But that was when that...
that's why you like him, probably.
Yeah, probably. But that's why I was then like, hey, listen, freaking... It was good. But they should have won. In the end, the nice lad who played with him missed a putt on the last, and that would have gotten a playoff. I actually felt pretty bad for them because they played well. But it was good fun. So that's what I've done all weekend. But
so these member guests, they're quite big deals in America, right? There's always something. Yeah. How often do they do it? Is it an annual thing? Oh, it's an annual thing.
And then, well, it's funny because Fuji was there, and the fellow who runs Fuji is a great guy. All the guys at Fuji are great guys. And I went up to him quietly before he announces the winner because I was the only one not using a Fuji. And I just put my arm around and whispered in his ear, and I just said, "Listen, I didn't win." I said, I was just making it easy for you. And he just laughed at me and he's just like, you're a dick. I said, I didn't want to make it embarrassing. It would have been tricky.
Uh,
So
I
yeah,
wonder. Yeah, it's obviously a shame Bubs isn't on the call today, as he did it.
Bubsy would probably win it. To be
He
fair,
would win that, right? Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, he's obviously entered a few long drive competitions when he was a bit more in his peak years. I just wonder how far he could have actually got, as in if he worked at it and how much further he would have been able to hit the ball because he was hitting it a long way in his early 20s.
You mean as a long drive guy?
Well, no, I'm not talking. I'm not really comparing him to the Martin Borgmeier. I'm talking about him in isolation, like where he was at the time. He was always driving it over 300 yards anyway at that time with that equipment. Like I wonder how much further, how much more distance he would have been able to gain had he applied the gym work, swing technique, and all of these things in order to maximize distance. I wonder how much more he would have been able to get out of his natural ability.
400.
You know what I mean?
Bubsy would have been able to hit it 400.
Yeah. Well, I'll never forget. The 15th on the Brabazon at the Belfry.
Yeah.
I think I've told you this.
Down by the river thing, was he?
Yeah, he's down by the. But for me, okay, I know I'm not a long hitter by any stretch, but I've gone like driver 5-iron over that little stream, the short of those bunkers, then hit a pitching wedge onto the green. Like that's kind of how I would generally play the hole, unless it was a nice bright sunny day downwind and you feel like you could get more or less close. Driver 3 would. Him, when I played with him, he hit driver down the middle, 8-iron over the back of the green. Over the back of the green. I'm like, mate, you're on another hole over there. What are you doing there? But obviously, it took him 6 to get down after that because he can't chip.
His ball speed then would have been about 180, so he'd be 195, wouldn't he, if he did something about it? But I mean, he's long, he's real long. But yeah, it is what it's impressive. But you meet tour players like that all the time, right?
How do you mean tour players that are naturally long that could go longer? Or you mean
like Rory? The thing with Bubs is he didn't swing out of his boots, and that's what got me about this long drive. There was only me and another guy who swung like as if we're trying to hit it. Everyone else was just putting their normal swings on it. I'm like, guys, that's not going to get it done. You got to give it beans. You got to be like falling over. But people worry about hitting it straight.
Yeah,
but it's a long drive. It's a long drive. Yeah, true.
You still have to hit it down the middle.
Yeah, but if you send it, then it's, I don't know. I feel like if you, like Watson it was, wasn't it? Tom Watson was all like, the harder you hit it, the straighter you hit it. Which is kind of fair enough. And it's like with Bobsy, I think that, I don't know, he always would get a little weird about how far he hit it. He'd always like be standoffish instead of lean into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if I had that kind of natural talent, hit the ball that far, I'd have leaned so far into that.
But you hit one ball long once.
Yeah, I hit it once, and I think it was going down a car path. That's why it went so freaking long.
I gave you that lesson at Turnberry before we played. I'd never given you a lesson anyway. I gave you a lesson at Turnberry before you played. You gained 50 yards, and then you never swung it like that again.
That sounds about right, to be honest. I mean, I'm shorter now than I've ever been.
I remember we were in a bay, and it was one of those ones where the acoustics have got an interesting sound.
Yeah, you said about the sound. Yeah,
I got rid of all the crap you were doing with the driver head. I changed it all, gave it you back, gave you a lesson. You hit it 300 yards, and then you're like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that." I was like, all right, don't bother, mate. Let's go and play for.
I think I hit one tee shot on the course that was like that, and then you said, "Oh, Dazzler, that's the first time I've ever seen you strike a ball."
Basically,
and I was like, "Well, I can't let him have that kind of glory. I'm going to have to go back."
Yeah. So, anyways, there you go. Man. There you go.
There you go. So, I did want to talk about one other thing as well related to the Open Championship last week in the women's game. Did you manage to catch any of it? I know coverage hours and stuff like that might not have been conducive for you, but did you watch any?
I obviously saw the Charlie Hull highlight. Just how hard she tries. Like, I remember looking at something on social media, and my son is watching it, and she's got a bunker shot, and she took like 8 looks. He said, "What's she doing? What's she doing? Why is she not hitting it?" And I said, "She so desperately wants to win." I said, "She's trying to hold this bunker shot, mate." I said, "That's where she's at." He's like, "Oh," I said, "That's the sort of focus that you should do." Like, there's a lot of lessons that you can take from Charlie. I think she's great. I really do. And the more mature she gets, the more I like her. And then the only other name that I paid attention to, obviously, was Nelly Gorda. Always watch that one. Some of the positions she gets at in the downswing are so good. She's so good. And then the name that I couldn't put the face to the name, but I remember it from working deeply with the analytics, is Lottie Wode. I know she's a good player, and I know that she did well this week, which was awesome. Like, I don't know her, but it's great to see that she's performing, and obviously the data doesn't lie.
No, she's tied 6 in the tournament, but she's done well in a few of the majors now already, and she's not long been a pro. I think she's definitely got something about her. It'll be quite interesting to see what kind of career she lands with. I thought the putt, by the way, from Esther Henselite on the last hole, regular play, 72nd hole, middle of the green, quite a long putt, and she holed that putt to get into the playoff. It was a filthy putt, but it was quite interesting watching her body language when she holed the putt, because it was almost like she knew it was a massive moment in the tournament and in the moment as well overall. So she knew that, but she couldn't. She didn't quite express herself in that way, but you could clearly tell that she was trying to express herself in that way. And it was like almost this conflicting thing to go, oh, that was an amazing putt and I should be fist pumping all over the green, but actually I'm only in the playoff. So she's trying to like control that emotion. I thought that was quite an interesting, I mean, she's German at the end of the day, right? I mean, those guys love a little bit of control. So let's put that into perspective. But I thought she was amazing. And her golf swing is phenomenal. I think she got a great swing. And I thought she was really hard done by in the playoff, to be fair. But having said that, Kawaki, who won the actual tournament, you know, she deserved to win. Like you can't take that away from her. But I did think when in the playoff where Esther's shot, basically she hit it right off the tee, official standing on the rope line, it hits the official's leg, ricochets kind of backwards but further into the rough and goes into a gorse bush, of which now she has to chip out sideways, which she does, basically hits it maybe, I don't know, 50, 60 yards past her playing partner, then hits that shot into the middle of the green. A good shot. It was a good shot, but missed the putt. And obviously all the other player had to do was make a par, which she did, to win the tournament. So, yeah, and had it not hit the official, we were saying this before we jumped on, had it not hit the official, she just would have been in stamped down grass in the rough, like she would have had a clear shot to green. So a bit of a shame that happened to her, but nonetheless, I thought it was a pretty good final round. I only really watched a lot of the final round. I've had a lot of people to host this weekend, so I didn't get to watch as much as I'd like.
So much to unpack there.
So much.
Let's start with.
lad.
Let's start with. I'm going to take you back to 1995. Okay.
Right.
Rocco Mediate duffs his chip into the Swilkenburn. Costantino Rocca, not Rocco Mediate, the Italian Costantino Rocca. Duffs it into the burn, stands in the burn, swipes it, holes it, falls onto the upslope of the Swilkenburn and is banging his fist on the floor. He's banging it on the floor. And that was to get in a playoff. With that, John Daly, who's already won a major, stands up from his seat, shoulders back, let's go have it. And with Reebok on the front of his chest, which was a dream for Reebok, which I actually know the fella that got him in the Reebok deal now. I play golf with him, goes out and wins the Open Championship. So the annual, back then they used to do an Open Championship like annual, like a program. The picture on the program for 1996, and I bring this up and I want to make this point very clear. I bring it up in calm emotion, with no hatred, no anger, no, I'm completely at one with this podcast right now. All I'm saying is, if you win the Open Championship, you are, and again, I've taken a bit of heat for it, you're the champion golfer of the year, whatever you want to coin it. If that's the phrase from year 1066 that we've gone with, fine. You win the tournament, your image should be on the front of that program. And the image was Rocco Media, Costantino Rocca. Poor Rocco Media, that was the USA. Banging the green. That was the image on the front of the program. I'm going to then take you back to Oakmont US Open.
Before you do that, I'll tell you why I remember that Open so vividly, is that myself and my family, we went on a trip into the Kruger National Park, obviously checking out all these animals.
See any rhinos?
We saw plenty of rhinos, gazelles galore.
Gazelle. Fuck me, rhino. Have we ever told that story?
We must have done, but we can say it again. But yeah, we were in the Kruger National Park going from sort of camp to camp, and we were constantly trying to capture the content or whatever the televised broadcast was for the golf.
Hard to do back then.
Very difficult, but we managed to then just about get to watch those sort of last 2 or 3 holes, and that was when we saw Costantino Rocca, and then obviously the subsequent playoff, which John Daly won.
It's funny.
So I remember that like it was yesterday.
It's funny how you remember these things. I remember where I was for that Open, and I remember where I was for the Van der Velde in the ditch one at Carnegie.
I don't remember where I was.
So, but isn't it weird? Like, so for the Rocca one, I was in the junior room at Vickers Cross, and it's a small club in Chester. And the pool table pockets had this really like big entry, like a flat part. And I remember I had a tough shot, and I called to a mate of mine at the time, would have been 13, 14, James Stewart. God knows where he is now. Kid could play the piano. played Diggsy's Diner over the phone once to me, legend.
Did he?
Oh, yeah, I was like, Jesus, what the hell are you playing golf for? Just being a musician. Anyway, flat side of the pocket. And I said, I'm going to hit this ball. It's going to hit that flat bit of the pocket, ricochet, and go in this back pocket. Because you have to call the pocket because it's on the 8 ball. He's like, yeah, shut up. Bang, boom, boom, in. and then we sat in the junior room and watched Costantino Rocca do that, and obviously it was brilliant. But I remember that one. I remember Murfield Faldo, and I remember the Carnoustie one. Anyway, that, and then you take it back to the controversy of Oakmont and the ruling with Dustin Johnson, which again pretty much stopped me watching the US Open. And you get to a point and you think the responsibility of the people running these tournaments is huge. And here we are now discussing a girl who's hit a tee shot, managed to contain herself, so she's got her emotions in check, which fair enough. You do need to do
Shout
that
out
in golf.
to that, yeah.
You do need to do it in golf. I know
you do, yeah. No,
it brings it down, and it's like, but I'd be a better player if I didn't lose my head, sure. And I'm not anything like as bad as I was, but we'd all be better. Anyway, then you effectively had outside interference, and the ball goes into a bush because this character, and I get it, they're a volunteer. Again, said with, let me highlight this, no emotion, I'm fine with it, it's all good. But you've screwed up, mate.
Yeah.
You've impacted history. And albeit that the Ladies Open Championship, and I think this is a fair comment, is not as well watched as the men's today, I think in the future it definitely could be. And I think that whoever this individual is has changed the course of potential history.
Well, yeah. I mean, the reality is we're actually never really going to know.
No.
But the
So
fact
why did
that
we?
the
But I just
opportunity...
it's a bit like if you've got a chip off and someone turns and looks at the ball. It's my point. I said my boys come from Oregon. She's come all the way from Germany. What was the point? She might not. Why did you bother doing that for? What's the point?
I was having a little think about this, about some of these big events over the weekend when I was cooking a barbecue for 27 people at my house. Brutal, by the way. A whole other podcast episode that could be. But however, I was thinking about it, and these rights holders, PJ Tour, RNA, I mean, ultimately, if you actually bring it back to the most simplistic form, they're only events companies.
Yeah.
That's it. But they're all, I know I'm giving them a bit of a disservice by saying it in that way, but they are events companies with a huge amount of benefits and a huge amount of money that comes into those events. So if you're an events company of that standard, which are, let's call them the elite of events management companies, you have to, you can't be doing basic things like that. Get out of the way. Keep your eyes open.
So but you're kind of getting where I was getting with this, and I'm a bit more sinister, but I don't think Oakmont wanted Dustin to win, and I don't think that St Andrews wanted John Daly to win.
Yeah, I think you could be right.
Little did they know that having John Daly win, he's an icon. But they didn't know that. They didn't know that at the time.
Yeah. It's always better in hindsight.
And Oakmont, DJ is an icon, and the way he won it, that shot he hit into the last, and I sometimes think these people who run these tournaments, to your point, they make it more about like the corporate side than the actual event. The Ryder Cup. So I went to that at Bethpage, and I was stood in the corporate hospitality on 17. Amazing event. Went with Adidas, and I'm looking around at like the tickets you can get and where you can sit versus what the corporate hospitality has. And Adidas had it for the practice round. And I was stood there thinking, this must cost so much money, because you're up against like the UBSs, the HSBCs, the Barclays. How are companies meant to compete and you got to blow some serious marketing dollars to get one of these spots. Now it's going to be iconic, but then what fans do you get? And then that brings you to the FIFA World Cup. And it's like, tickets were absurd.
Yeah.
I looked at one ticket and it was Switzerland against like Haiti or whatever, and it was going to cost me over $900 to $1,000 for 2 tickets. So if I take the family, I'm into $2,000, and then I got to get there. Yeah. And you sort of look at it and you're just like, how did we get here? I don't get it.
Yeah, obviously, in the football world, Gianni Infantino, he's the president of FIFA, he's under massive pressure right now to resign, just off the basis of trying to sell basically parts of the tournaments that they run, including the World Cup. Now, how much money is enough money? That's what I don't get. Like, I get that there's money out in the world, and I get we're all measured on this to whatever degree, but how much is actually enough? If you're getting to the point where you're starting to sell your own events to general public in that way, it ain't right. It's just not right. You have a responsibility to develop and grow the game. So you have to have a balance right. You have to figure out, well, we got to get, you go to golf tournaments in the Middle East, in particular in Dubai. You don't pay for a ticket because they want everybody in Dubai to go. They want participation and activation on site. That's what they want. So bring in the people that are not savvy about golf, bring people in that are not that aware about golf, and make them enjoy the game and get them started in golf. Don't alienate them. And then you can still have your corporate spaces where you're overcharging them a quintillion, and you can get people to come in and do all the corporate shenanigans that they got to do. But don't sell out the game. You're custodians of the game. No one owns the game. We all think about it now. Think about how many times, and I'm relating this to players, but how many world number ones or former world number ones, or certainly former world number 10s, when they were world number 10, you showed them a huge amount of respect. And I'm going a bit off piece, but then as soon as they're at the end of their career and maybe they retire or whatever, they kind of like become obsolete. So I just think it's the same kind of thing. It's like when these people are in a position of power, they almost get too much respect for their position. Well, no, hang on a second. Your responsibility is to hand over this entity in a healthy, responsible way to the next person that's taking over you. It's not for you to try and cash in, day out. You're going to make loads of money. How much money is enough? And that's what kind of pisses me off about the whole situation.
Yeah. But that's, I guess, yeah, but you could complain about everything, couldn't you? Like, that's the way everything's gone. It's like there's a lot of golf clubs around here, San Diego, golf, tennis. It's all been in this industry. Must have been booming here in the 80s. Booming.
Yeah.
And now everything needs renovated. Look at the place where the Trot Shop is. It's just been bought by new owners. It's now a really nice place. They've spent so much money on it. And that's just where, and now they need to recoup their money, which I'm sure they will somehow. Well, it looks to me like they are, which is therefore good business. But, who's going to buy it off them? And then they're going to want to recoup their money. Or do they just do what's happened at a couple of the places I'm involved with, which is just run it down and run it at like a bare minimum, and then keep charging more until eventually people say, I can't afford to do this. I've landed on that space with certain things. I'm just at a stage like even my house. The reason I'm sat outside, it's like, it needs renovating. It's falling apart. Pipes are bursting. Then you do the insurance work, and you got to add to it because the insurance doesn't cover the cost of stuff. God almighty, it's just there's shit to pay for all the time. And then okay, I want to go on vacations here. We can't do that. Want to go to the World Cup? Can't do that. Okay, all right. What's the highlight of the year? The chip off at freaking member guest, which is why I'm so fired up about, hey, don't turn around, son. This is the highlight of the year right here. But you bring it back to this girl, though, in the Open Championship, and she's got a chance to win the thing. I saw that they were calling it as well, like the AIG Open Championship. Was that?
Yeah,
like,
they have to say it. They have to say that.
What are you doing?
It's all part of the broadcast. It's the same. But to be fair, I mean, it's not to be fair because that's a sellout. I get it. But when it's the Masters, they have to call the fans patrons. They're not allowed to use the word.
That's
fans.
cool. I think that's quite cool.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And that's also traditional to the game, right? To the venue, the iconic tournament that it is. There's no cashing in for dollars there, which is what others.
Which is why the pimento cheese sandwich costs you like nothing.
Yeah,
they kept the prices. It's cool.
Well. It's friggin' horrendous, but that's just me. That's a whole other topic. But yeah, no, and that's why
knowing
I like those kind of
you
things.
must have had that thing in a hot bag all day or something.
No, I didn't, mate. I had it straight away. I was having a chat with some people that I met who are friends of Victoria's, actually my wife, and they were over there. So let's go for a quick sandwich and a drink. So we went down. They bought a pimento cheese sandwich. Had a few bites. Thought, this is not the best, but I'll keep going. So lapped it all up that night. Food poisoning, horrific, brilliant. Not great. And then the following day, it was a Thursday, round one of the tournament. I thought I'm going to go and watch a bit of golf. I then was in the grandstand, which backs onto the seventh green, and it's basically the 18th tee's more or less behind you, kind of. And I fell asleep in the frickin' in the grandstand for something like 4 or 5 hours, sunburned to shit. Woke up, I was like, what am I doing here? Like, what? This is crap. What a crap day. That's what I was thinking. As I'm stood there, watching some of the greatest golfers of all time walk through
Sleeping
from the 7th green to the 8th tee. And I'm like, what? This is dog. And then I had to then get up, get some water, and go, fuck this, I'm going now. And then left.
How did you fall asleep in a grandstand?
Well, the previous night, I was awake all night, obviously ill with the food poisoning scenario. I didn't sleep basically at all. And oh mate, it was just horrific. And then that day, I stood in that bleacher looking down. Obviously, it was at that point in the day, it was the right temperature, which helps you nod off. And I was on the very end seat as well, so I had my head on the barrier,
Oh, that's
and it was
brilliant.
just an easy position to fall asleep. And yeah, there I was, just kipping in this grandstand for 4 or 5 hours. And I'm pretty
Brilliant.
sure. I mean, luckily you're not allowed cameras on site, because I'm pretty sure there'd be a lot of stuff circulating online about this fella that's gone to the Masters and fell asleep in a
Jesus
grandstand.
Christ alive, that is funny. What the hell?
Oh, it was horrific. And I was so conscious that night, because it was my time at TaylorMade, and you're sharing these big houses with everybody, and I'm just in the bathroom all night long. And I'm there, like, psychologically distraught now, thinking, Jesus, how's this going to play out for all the other guests in the house? And my mind is racing, and that probably didn't help my energy levels the following day. But thank God for row 12, position G. And there I was, kipping away all night, all day, as the case may be.
That's funny. Jesus
It wasn't
Christ,
funny.
McD.
It was horrific.
I think it's funny.
Of course you do.
Have you ever had food poison on an aeroplane?
Fortunately, and I better touch some wood here, but I have not had that. I know you have, though, haven't you?
No, I've had
Was it
that.
in Malaysia?
Yeah, true, actually. Yeah, get him from Malaysia to Dubai. That was just brutal. Yeah, well remembered. And then I've also had toothache twice on an aeroplane. That's horrendous. And I've had an ear problem on an aeroplane from South Africa to Abu Dhabi. That was horrific too. Just like that, because you can really damage your body doing that.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, not good. Not good.
Well, I gotta say, in a weird way, I was disappointed to leave Augusta that day, but I was delighted to get back home. Let me tell you, the home comforts, I desperately needed that. It took me like 4 days to recover.
So did this girl do anything in the interview and talk about the situation with the?
Yeah, she was asked a few questions in the media afterwards, and to be fair, she basically highlighted it as one of these incidents. It's just what happened, and it is what it is. So she kind of brushed it off in a very professional way. She was more congratulatory for her opponent than the situation that she found herself in. I thought she took it really well. But to be fair, she also handled the situation in the moment really well. I'm not even sure really, and I'd like to see a little bit more, but I'm not sure if she was overly aware that it hit the official first.
Yeah.
So I think it took a little while to register, but I do feel for her that she didn't get the fair opportunity to try and win the tournament that she probably deserved. But at the same time, she handled herself with grace and I guess from a mature perspective as well. And then clearly the other player, Kawaki from Japan, she played great. And actually, if you look at her golf swing, I think you'll appreciate this. You should definitely do some Googling on this. She reminds me of Sergio Garcia in terms of the way that she swings that club. Laid off at the top, really, really wristy coming into the impact position. Looks very, very Garcia-esque to me.
Do you think we ever get to a world where it's not so bland and we ever get someone that's outspoken in golf again? And do you think there's a player today that is outspoken, that is under the age of 30?
Under the age of 30?
Because think about it.
I think Tyrrell Hatton, although Tyrrell Hatton's probably 30.
He's 30. John Daly was insane. Iconic and insane. Trevino, Ballesteros, Woods, Payne Stewart.
I can't think of any young personalities that are like that.
There's none.
I think the closest that'll have a bit of an edge, maybe, but like an entertaining edge, and I think he might be 30, actually, would be Dan Brown, the English guy. But I don't think he's not the same. No, that's what I mean. Like, he hasn't proved enough in the game just yet.
Like
but
Bryson
to become
is.
like an iconic.
Bryson is.
Yeah, but he's over 30, isn't he?
He is, but at least he's. But that's what I'm saying. There isn't anyone coming in now that is on that route.
I think women's game. You've probably got Charlie Hull. That would
100%. You got Charlie Hull. 100%. And Nelly as well. To be fair to her, she's nice, but she'll say a piece.
Yeah, but she's quite professional in the way that she would.
Yeah, Charlie's not really.
Yeah, Charlie would be quite blunt and direct, which I appreciate. I quite like that. It's like a level of honesty.
She's getting away with it at the moment. I feel like they're trying to catch her out in everything every time, and she's getting away with it.
Yeah, but she's a massive draw. So unlike that situation you mentioned earlier with John Daly, and not on the cover of the 96 Open brochure.
95.
Well, no, he won 95, but it was a 96.
Oh, sorry, you're
brochure.
right. You're right. Yeah. I think it's disgusting.
Yeah. So, but I don't think that situation would happen if it was Charlie Hull, because she's she's such a draw.
100. Oh, I feel like the whole women's game is pulling for her to win a major.
Yeah, and she does do well every time. She's just got
legit.
to get one over the line. Yeah, no, she's awesome. So I think she would be really, really good as a winner, and I think that the media would embrace that. So I'm not sure if they're trying to catch her out necessarily intentionally in any way, but they're obviously broadcast things as she does. And I thought she had a bit of a bad rap for the joke that she played on her caddy. Did you see that with the scratch card?
Yeah. Saw that.
It's the kind of thing that I would do to you, though. So I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it either. What? So what? I mean, it's just a joke.
He's just a joke, and it's amongst friends. It's at the end of the day.
The internet probably shouldn't have seen it.
Yeah, but it's also not like she did it on, somebody else who she doesn't really know, because that would have been a different thing entirely then. But
and she's also paying this guy anyway for a job.
Yeah.
And like she even said, well, if I win, I'll give him a check for 100 G's anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and for those, just to get some people that caught up, especially for our big fans in Ivory Coast, what actually happened is that she gave her caddy a scratch card, which was a fake scratch card showing that he'd won $100,000, and she gave it to him. And then that became a bit of an internet sort of sensation, shall we call it, went viral, whatever you want to phrase it. And she got into a bit of hot water for it. But personally, I was quite happy with it, to be honest.
I don't think it was a major issue myself. Again, it's a joke that probably shouldn't have happened. And the other thing is, it's like, how many people, when they complain about this, it's like everything. So I put a solid YouTube video out this weekend, really good one actually. And quickly there'd been a whole bunch of comments. One of them's negative. But you immediately look at it and you go like, that's the one that sticks with you. What about the other flipping 35 good ones?
Yeah.
It's just whatever. It's just the way.
But it's always easy to criticize, right? It's just easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you got to look at the number differently. You go, yeah, okay, there's 35 comments here, but there was 2,000 views, and actually you got to make the assumption that broadly that the large amount of those 2,000 are happy with the content you put out. Yeah, so actually, when you scale it that way, because it's easier to criticize than it is to say something good, right? So those ones are just view it and then they move on.
Yeah.
Because they know it's good. Nothing to say. Well done. Thanks. Send us another one next week.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I'm just saying, and I don't care. I know the stuff does well, but it's like people get caught up in that stuff, and it's just weird. I think we've hit this area in life where you're really between the two parties, you know what I mean, in terms of the ages, and you get it from both sides. You get it from the old boys, and you understand what the young boys want, and I don't know. I think it's very funny. Yeah.
I also think, though, with criticism, I kind of semi-welcome it, because you must be doing something right if you're ruffling somebody's feather. And I'm not saying necessarily for all the wrong reasons, but it means that people are observing. And, there's going to be people that just don't want you to be successful. And that's okay. And that only means, that only comes if you're being criticized. You know that when that comes. Whereas if you're not doing anything at all and you're not putting yourself in a position to win at all, you don't get positive feedback or negative. So you might as well get both bits of feedback because you're doing something, right?
Mm-hmm. So the girl going back to the ladies' golf, Japanese girl, right?
Yeah.
Is that her first major?
It is her first major. I think she's won 5 other tournaments.
So she's a player then?
No, yeah, she can play. She's good. But I think it is her first major. I'll have to double check on that. Otherwise,
Lytham is a good place for an open, eh?
Yeah, and I've been lucky to play that golf course quite a lot, actually, probably maybe 15, 20 times, quite a lot, weirdly. And there's a shed load of bunkers on that golf course. I think it's the golf course is the number 1 on the open rota with the most bunkers.
It's crazy.
But I also know that they filled a few in because they made changes to the course over the last few years. I can't remember the exact detail, but by memory, I want to say they had well over 600 bunkers on the golf course. And then they've reduced that down or moved a few. They might have joined a couple together, that kind of thing. But what a golf course. Great track. In fact, I played there, just talking about the female game for a moment. One of the last times I played there, I played with Sophie Walker, who played on the Ladies European Tour for a while. She does a lot of Sky Sports and things now. And just her game. She wasn't long off the tee. She wasn't long with any club, really. But I tell you, didn't miss. She just doesn't miss. And what I really admired about her game, beyond that, was her discipline to her approach to that. So she knew she wasn't long. So she wouldn't take any risks. She wouldn't try and like get an extra 5 yards. She would just go, no, this is the shot. You know, if it means I've got to lay up, I'll lay up, and that's where I'm going to end up. And then I'm going to hit the next one onto the green. You know, she's very methodical and disciplined in her game. And, you know, somebody like me takes a lot from that because I'm just not a big hitter. And yeah, it was quite good to see the way that she approached that game that day.
So in Korea, when I was working over there, the ladies' golf was watched more than the men's golf. And when they went into the market and they asked them about it, they were like, well, we can't swing it like the men pros, but we know, because we play a lot of simulator golf in Korea, because it's not a huge place, we know that our speeds are exactly the same as the girls. So if we watch the girls, we can basically do what they do to become better players, is where their conclusion was, which makes sense. Same in Japan. So the ladies Japan tour and the ladies Korea tour is huge.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, actually, the differences between the two from a playability and a caddy perspective. So I got chatting to one of the caddies about it, who basically covered both tours, a guy called Ian Grimolby. He's caddied on it for a number of years across both tours. And he was telling me that you have to caddy very differently because of the way each player strikes the ball. So men hit the ball a lot harder. Even when they're closer to the green, they're still hitting it a lot harder with more spin. In the ladies' game, even at that closer range, they're still hitting it softer, which means less spin. So the way that they attack and approach the flags and the shot shapes that they discuss in order to choose, it's a completely different way of playing golf. So when you're saying about that being relatable, it is far more relatable for, I think, most guys to follow what happens in the women's game, to see how they approach where to land the ball on the green, when to take on the pin, when not to. You know, they're more aggressive for pins that are at the back than they are in the front. Whereas in the men's game, I think it's a bit more equal spread into how much they might attack a pin. Insightful.
When you chat with Nelly and you talk with her about golf equipment, everything she gets, her pitching, her wedges are 66-degree line. Like that's so upright. You look at like most, like Tommy's 63, because she likes to draw even her wedges. Like everything, if it's not drawing, she's not happy with it, which then obviously knocks the spin down so much. But to your point, think about that front pins and stuff. It's like, whereas I'm the other way. I hit everything really spinny. That's why I like watch the Nelly stuff, because I'm like, wow, she's so good and so controlled in everything she does, like even from the food she eats to like the way she manages her day. And it's so impressive. And as a result, she's in a great position in the downswing. And you're just like, wow. But it's just centered every time. Like you say, she doesn't hit a wide ball. Doesn't hit a wide ball ever. And she's a competitor. I played her in a media thing once. We played like 3 holes, and we stand on the last, and it's the concession over where she lives, the one where Nicholas and Tony Jackson have the game. So they create that golf course called the concession. Hard golf course. Last hole, and I'm hitting like cuts all day because I was pretty nervous. Just want to keep the thing in play and keep the game going for the cameras. And I say to her, is it driver down? She goes, yeah, driver. Like stoic. I'm like, all right, what's the line? She says, I hit it there, and I said, okay, I'm going to cut it. She goes, yeah. I hit it up there. It was a 15-yard wide fairway that I hit it into. So I say to her, I said, Nelly, I said, what the fuck are you doing? She's like, what do you mean? And I said, freaking tight that is. I said, I'm not very good at golf, And she goes, well, I want to beat you, don't I? And I was like, fair enough. I said, well, I'm trying to keep it going for the camera. She doesn't even answer me. So then I pull an 8-iron onto the green. I got like 50 feet. And she sees I've got this weird arm lock putter. I hit it up to this. And I look at her and I said, Nelly, you know this place is called the concession? She doesn't answer me again. Just like, what are we doing here? So I tap it in and I look at her and she just laughs at me. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. She goes, well, I don't know what to say, but I like it. I said, I get it, Nelly. I said, you just put me through a lot of stress there just to get a half with you on a goddamn camera. And she just laughed at me. She's cool. She's cool.
That's good. That's good. Well, mate, just as we start wrapping up this this show, there's not much golf on this one. I mean, obviously, there's the Wyndham Championship this weekend, but outside of that, there's not much golf on. But the other day, I think I might have mentioned this to you, I played golf at Royal St. George's. Played pretty steady overall. I shot 79, but I had 8 3-putts. And I've decided my putting is horrific at the moment. I played again a few days later and it was just rubbish. So what I've now done, I've got Pete, who works for me here at the office, Nike Pete, who's always been known as, and he's now Adidas, by the way. And I got him to sort out my old Wilson 8802 grip because the grip was on a bit odd. So he's put a nice straight one on there for me. It looks good. And I'm going to whip that out again just to try and feel the hole a little bit more. So I'm going back to 2001 Darrell Evans, believe you can hold that putt.
Jesus. I mean, there was
I'm
a
going
lot
backwards to go forwards. Yeah.
there was a lot to unpack there before you came out with that sentence. I mean, I mean, Jesus Christ, are we telling that story now? This late in the podcast?
We are not. Well, we should do it now because it is late in the podcast. But hey, we're not going to go there.
We got to tell.
I'm a big believer in NLP. That's what you need to know.
I'm telling
what you think of yourself is what you become.
We're closing this story with this now. This is an absolute belter. I'm gutted that people are going to wait till the end to hear this. Hopefully, people are still here. So go on.
No. I'm going to mute myself here now.
Back in 2003, probably, or 2002, we all lived in a house together. Me, McD, and a guy called Louis, who's a good mate of ours. And
skint. We're all skint. I slept on a mattress on the floor for 2 years.
Louis was cleaning the house, and Daryl had this tiny little room. It was a bathroom. It'd been turned into another bedroom. So Louis's like, screw it. I've got the vacuum cleaner out. I will hoover Daryl's room. So he starts hoovering Daryl's room, being a nice guy, going around this mattress that's on the floor.
Being a nice guy. Yeah, that's what he was doing in there.
That's another story. So he's going around Daryl's mattress with his red tracksuit bottoms that he used to wear, the poppers.
Yeah, poppers. Adidas logos all the way down the side.
Louis sees on the side a Walkman, right? It had a tape cassette in it, or whatever it would have been. So Lou Boy's like, I'm gonna put this on, and I'm gonna listen to what Daryl would listen to, which is like, that's a typical Louis move. I don't know if I'd have done that. So
sneaky.
He puts in these headphones or whatever it was, puts them over his hand or whatever, and all he hears is McDee's voice.
I was trying to get better at golf. In my defense,
I wonder if we're going to end up telling the video camera story.
We are never telling that story. Never. That's fishing trip forever.
So he ends up hearing. I pulled it out at your wedding, though, didn't I? Pretty much.
You did, with my father-in-law, and my mother-in-law is a vicar.
Just tell me, did I give the full detail of that story at your wedding? I can't have done.
You didn't go full, but you went enough that all 140 guests came up and spoke to me about it. So yeah, deep enough.
Okay. Anyway, so basically, Louis puts on these headphones, and it's McDee's voice, and it's saying, "You are the best putter in the world." So Louis starts laughing, and then it goes on to, "You never miss putt." So Louis, killing himself, turns off the vacuum cleaner, runs into my room. I'm studying at the time for my PGA finals, and he goes, "Listen to this." Turns it on again, and it then says, "People fear me. You fear nobody." Me and Lou Boy were just absolutely gone. We must have listened to this thing for like 20 minutes, just creasing ourselves. I think it was a pure invasion of privacy, to be honest with you. And actually, thinking about it, I should kind of sue for defamation of character. You could do in this day and age. Anyway, we basically stood there and just like, that is just quality. So McD has a videotape of him telling himself he's the best putter in the world, and it was and people fear him. And it was with this 8802 that he was having that. So when he goes and says on here that he's having Nike, now Adidas, Pete, regrip it, he's trying to get back some of those emotions of that he is the greatest putter in the world and that people fear him.
It's my inner fear factor, that Wilson 8802. That's what I'm going to try and don on for the next time I play. Well, you know what it was? I was reading all that crap from, well, it's not crap, but the stuff from the sports psychologist. Carl Morris. And I was getting into deep in all that stuff, and I thought, I've got to sort my brain out here. Turns out it's actually been quite useful from a business perspective, but from a golf perspective, I'm still pretty shy. Because you're the best businessman in the world, and people fear you. Yeah, people fear me. Yeah. What a twat. Well, I think that's going to have to close right there. Any more stories could get me in a whole world of bother. Yeah, you want to get rid of this podcast now, is all I'm saying. Yeah, I really do. Trust me. Right, well, on that note, everybody that's listening, thanks again, especially those ones from the Ivory Coast. We're big fans of that. You guys are fans of the show as well. So thanks a lot, and keep checking us out. And we'll see you guys. Well, if people want to listen to the Malaysia video camera story, then by all means, on now, and, just get in the comments and I'll tell it. You will not tell it. Fishing trip. Right. See you guys next week. Check us out in all the usual places. See you, McGee. Apple, Spotify. Let's all get off this show. See you then. Take care. Bye-bye. Shut up.